Dave, speaking of piss, R. Kelly, very famous for some not so able to be consensual piss action in the past. And now he is suffering repercussions from the streaming service Spotify. Fill me in on that news.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I didn't immediately remember that R. Kelly allegation. That's because there's so many and there's so many wide variations to the shitty things R. Kelly has almost certainly done. But yeah, Spotify announced that they were removing R. Kelly and XXXTentacion's music from their playlists, and then they quickly updated that with an announcement that they didn't want to have any hateful conduct promoted on their playlists. Of course, the music is still on Spotify. They didn't take it down or anything. They're just not actively promoting it. And it is definitely noteworthy because, 20 to 30% of all Spotify streams are consumed via playlist. And that's probably upwards of like 50% of all new music is consumed via playlist. And for XXX, of course, we reviewed his album Question Mark a few, weeks back. SoundCloud.com/Nowstalgia pod. Check that out. But, he came up in the SoundCloud generation. And usually when SoundCloud rappers blow up from SoundCloud, their hits go on to the Rap Caviar playlist, the most followed influential playlist on Spotify. And that really helped made his career. And then it's kind of funny because the opposite is R. Kelly. R. Kelly's not someone who does big streaming numbers. He hasn't had a hit in over 10 years. So he's not even really taking much of a hit from this. But it's interesting to see it's Spotify, the biggest music streaming platform, the way most people consume music nowadays, is taking a kind of moral stand against artists, despite the fact that neither of these artists have been convicted of any wrongdoing. What do you think?
Yeah, that was what actually I was going to ask you. Doesn't this seem like a slippery slope in a way? Like today, one of your guys from Brockhampton, or over the weekend, was accused of
your van.
With sexual or having sex with a minor, being mentally and verbally abusive in his romantic relationships, and it really feels like it's nice to see a precedent like this set, because you don't want to be boosting up these people who are problematic or who have a history of this, but where is the line? And that's going to be the gray area, is when you're not pumping up certain people for something that people might say is an allegation, or something that people might say, he was convicted of this, but it's not as bad as this other person, so why are you taking this down? Now, obviously, it seems like they're focusing on some very problematic artists. XXX and R. Kelly are particularly well known for some of their serious legal issues, but I don't know. What is your feeling? Do you feel like this is a good precedent to set, or do you feel like this is going to lead to problems down the road?
Well, yeah, I mean, the two responses from the camps are kind of eye-opening. R. Kelly's camp basically just did, another denial thing, just saying that why would you react to unproven allegations, blah, 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 stuff they've basically been saying. And then X's camp basically posted a list of all these artists on Spotify that have had various things happen, like Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne, Chris Brown, 6ix9ine, Kodak Black, etc. Saying, oh, well, why are these people still on, even Michael Jackson, why are they on Spotify? Right? It's the same, no different. They've been accused of stuff like me, not convicted like me. Similar situation. But so I do understand that it is clearly a slippery slope. And a lot of these artists are still pretty well regarded, like a Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre did some really shitty things.
Yep.
Most people still really like him. But because it's just the playlist, you're not taking them off the platform, because again, their music, there's nothing wrong with the music, so they really have they wouldn't really be justified taking it off, but you're just not giving them the free promo anymore. When something bad happens to a famous person, outside of music, a lot of times they lose endorsements before they're convicted of anything. I don't think it's that different. But it is, a slippery slope. I think Spotify, they said it to take it on a case-by-case basis, but they really set up X's camp to give them that very easy retort. Well, what about these people? It's whataboutism. Welcome to 2018. So I would have liked them to maybe thought it out a little better, but I think this is a positive thing, and I'm really curious to see what happens to artists like X and Tay-K that have big followings, but also got that following from a playlist, you know? So interesting to see. Apple Music also followed suit, removing R. Kelly, and Pandora as well. So we'll see how far this can go, because yes, some people are just being like, why are you going to punish people that haven't officially been accused of anything? But I think it's for the best.
Yeah. Kind of just to reiterate my point, I think it's definitely a good thing, but they need to come up with, I think, a more set policy, kind of like what you said, like a more thought out guideline to this, so that they have some consistency with it. It'll definitely be something to monitor, but overall, good move.